Ladies and gents, welcome back. We've seen some, ridiculous things in recent times. And like I've always said, when something is ridiculous, it's deserving of ridicule, and ridicule we must. And, I've brought on an engineer and owner of Serbu Firearms, Mark Serbu, to talk about how just absolutely ridiculous things are getting here in Canada. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thanks. Good to be here.
So why am I talking to you today? something came up in a bill in Canada, a firearm that you made ages ago, and it's now on the list to be banned. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, it was a silly gun that I made as a joke to make fun of a guy who's also in the gun business, and everything he made was called the something master. So I made the butt master just to make fun of him. And in fact, if you see it in like when I rotate the gun around in some of the videos, you can see the serial number is DHM, which are his initials, and it's at OU812. Just play on that old Van Halen album.
Oh, okay, I see. I see. Now,
so yeah, here's.
So the gun, it was just a joke that you made, and from what I understand, it was 23 years ago to boot. Like, this isn't something that's recent.
Yeah, almost 24 years ago. Yeah, and it just the weird thing to me at first when I made my video initially, I'm like, the strange thing was, why does Canada even know about this? So I instantly jumped to conspiracy theory because I'm in the gun business. And I'm like, yeah, this is an NFA firearm. We don't have to register regular guns. Like my company makes lots and lots of guns, and we don't register any of them. But if it's an NFA firearm, National Firearms Act, 1934, machine guns, silencers, sawed-off shotgun, all that kind of stuff, it has to be registered per the NFA. So this was an AOW, any other weapon, because it's a gadget gun. It's unusual. It has a strange firing mechanism. Doesn't look like a gun.
Right.
So that's registered. And normally NFA stuff is privileged tax information and nobody's supposed to know about it. But since I put my videos out, there have been a bunch of comments out there, and somebody's even saying that, there's an Interpol has some kind of database with 100-something thousand guns, and this is Interpol number, blah, blah, blah. So somebody apparently.
So there was a way that the Canadian government learned about it. So for all those people that are confused with what's going on here, this is concerning Bill C-21, which is a bill that was initially designed to ban handguns in Canada, and then they went on to make a bunch of firearms illegal by name and make new categories. This is a 307-page document, and on page 2 you can find at the bottom, Serbu Buttmaster. This is the gun that you made one of 23 years ago, and it's listed in a piece of Canadian in the Canadian legislature now, and they're trying to ban it by name. By the way, I mean, the guns that are on here, a lot of them are just ridiculous. The Benelli Comfort, like a gun named the Comfort, is a duck gun. Essentially, it's Comfort because it's got recoil mitigation to make things a little bit more comfortable when you're getting foul, essentially. But how did you learn about this? Where did you, because it's obscure, a Canadian piece of legislation, and your gun being mentioned on it.
Yeah, I got lucky. Some guy emailed me from Canada, and he goes, Mark Serbu, you're a god. This is top level trolling. Look, you've got this butt master. It made the Canadian vandalism. I'm like, oh, what? And I researched it a little bit. I was like, yeah, man, this is crazy. And I was all excited at first. It's kind of funny. Do you guys, I'm sure you've seen the movie or you've heard of the movie, The Jerk, Steve Martin, The Jerk. It was from the 80s, maybe not. Anyway, it's this idiot guy. He was raised as a young black child. He was raised in a black family, and he's this white nerd. But anyway, he moves out, and he gets in the phone book finally, and he gets the phone book and he opens up and he sees his name there. He goes, look, I am somebody. And that led to a bunch of funny stuff, like some guy trying to kill him with a MAC-10, but absurd movie. But but I kind of had that feeling like, there have been a bunch of gun bans here in the U.S. over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and my name is never in there. They never have my guns or my company. I'm like, man, I feel left out. And all of a sudden, it's like, yes, I am somebody. Canada wants to ban me.
But Canada wants to ban you with one of the most obscure things. It's funny that it was even on the list because based on the dimensions of the firearm itself, the barrel's short enough that it would have fallen under other categories that already make it illegal in this country anyway. And that was something I only learned from watching Runkle of the Bailey, a YouTuber who's also a firearms expert lawyer. And this is what he does, and he consults people on firearms laws in Canada. But have you been contacted by any of the Canadian media? I noticed that you were on Tucker Carlson earlier this week, which is amazing. Congratulations for making Tucker Carlson. But have any of the Canadian media outlets other than Independence tried to contact you about this?
No, just you and Ian, and it's funny. I'm gathering from as you say how the Canadian media is these days. They probably don't want to hear my side of the story because they probably want to downplay this. They want to keep this under the rug because this is not good. Because the only thing it can do, and like I said on Tucker, it's like you're obviously inept if you put this gun on there. It's a one-off and never left my possession. Why on earth would it need to be on your ban list, especially considering it's already banned just by virtue of its barrel length? So it just stinks of ineptitude.
Well, all it really does is it kind of shows that they're blanket banning guns. They're not even like looking into what the gun is, the design, the features, the dimensions of it, or if it falls under other categories. They're naming them by name haphazardly seemingly from just other lists that have nothing to do with the reason why they're trying to, or purportedly trying to ban firearms in Canada.
Yeah, especially when Trudeau himself was out there saying, no, we're only going after these weapons of mass death and destruction. We're not going after your hunting rifles. We're not going after your hunting shotguns. And then, you look at it and it is haphazard and it's 300 and something pages long. So yeah, there's just about every gun ever made is on that list. It's crazy.
Well, there's no mass destruction with a 22 long rifle that you have to unscrew to make another shot. That's the thing that gets me the most. Unbelievable. But you did do something on Tucker that really it made me laugh the most. You said prison pocket.
Prison wallet.
Prison wallet.
Favorite line, like, yeah, Trudeau's saying all this stuff like weapons of mass death and destruction. And I'm like, what are you gonna do? Come into a room, whip this out of your prison wallet, and fire away with one shot, and then everybody beats you to death? Yeah,
it's absurd. It's absurd. And also in the bill is the fact that they're going to be banning airsoft toy guns in Canada under the same legislation, or anything that looks like a real gun, anything that looks like something that's actually been manufactured, which is all of them, all of the airsoft LARPers, and of which I am one of. I enjoy shooting those things. But if it looks like something that's a real manufactured firearm, it will be banned under this legislation as well. So much for going out and getting your exercise, kids.
I mean, it's really dumb because who are you helping by banning airsoft? Who's going to get, if somebody whips out an airsoft and goes in somewhere and pretends they're going to hold up people, who's going to get hurt? The guy with the airsoft is going to get shot to death by the cops. No one else is going to get hurt. Why do they care about that?
Yeah,
you should welcome.
Well, and there is issues with airsoft because some of the guns they look so real that they actually, like, some people are pretty willy-nilly about taking them from their car to the place where you go and shoot them. And the cops have been called, and there's been emergencies and stuff that have happened because of it. But that being said, it's the firearm, the owners of these, they're not even firearms, they're toys. Should be more careful, and that's really all it comes down to. There's no real serious threat of danger. But so for people to understand where you come from, you have an engineering background, and you have a company that manufactures firearms. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I got my degree from the University of South Florida back in 1990, and I worked in flight simulation for 8 years, and got bored with the day job. But I had taken a machine shop class in college, and I'd been exposed to machining, and I was really into that shiny metal. So I bought my own machines, had a couple of machines in my garage, and I started making my own guns. And eventually I rented a shop and just started doing stuff on the side. And by 1999, I started the company in 96, but by 1999, I quit my full-time job, which is really scary when you're young, when you're in your early 30s. Like the thought of not having a regular paycheck. Luckily and unluckily, I had a wife at the time, and she had a job, so it wasn't a total huge risk. But yeah, it's a scary step. Then I actually started making silenced Ruger pistols. I would modify the Ruger Mark II 22 pistol with an integral silencer. Then I made my own. I actually went to the Super Shorty, that super popular little sawed-off shotgun with a fold-down grip that's been everywhere in the movies, TV. But then I designed my first 50 cal rifle in 1999, and that's when things really started going, because that's
and that's your claim to fame.
Yeah, and they're trying to ban them. Actually, Rod Blagojevich, the disgraced former governor of Illinois, which I guess some huge number of the last. It's like some statistic, like the last 7 governors of Illinois are in prison or have gone to prison. So Rod Blagojevich, he was a senator at the time, or a congressman, and he introduced the Military Sniper Weapons Act of 1999. So because of that, an unknown nobody was able to start putting out 50 cals and be on the same footing as the big boys. It was lucky timing. And we just went from there, and it's been Mark's Daycare ever since. And I don't know, we got kind of serious in the last 3 or 4 years, and it's going crazy now.
Yeah, I can see that, because there's a lot of people tuning into your YouTube channel here. For everyone, I'll leave a link in the description down below. But you have a new micro 50 BMG out. I noticed this only 5 days ago was posted. Really cool looking piece of equipment there. Yeah,
it's funny, because I remember when I first made my my first sub 30-inch barrel 50 BMG. As an engineer and kind of a purist for ballistics and stuff, I'm like, oh, that's stupid, it's absurd. And here I am making something with a 10-inch barrel, and it's heresy. It's absurd. But if you look at the ballistics of it, it's not that bad. I mean, that thing still, that little 10-inch barrel tiny thing has the same muzzle energy as a 338 Lapua Magnum. So it's not wow. It's not small. It's not a small amount of energy.
No, and if it was if you'd registered it sooner, it may have made the list on Bill C-21 as well.
They have all of my guns are on their list. I noticed every gun.
Oh, everything you've made. Okay, so it's all on there. Well, we're not going to be getting any of those 50 BMG micros in Canada anytime soon.
We were shipping 50 BMG rifles to Canada. We had an importer in Canada for a while, for years, but that ended last year sometime, I think, and it really sucked.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We have some semi-autos. Our semi-auto 50 cals were allowed to go to Canada, and they did. The only thing we had to do was decrease the magazine capacity from 10 down to 5. But
right,
they're there. They're semi-auto 50 cal Serbu firearms.
And in Canada. So have they just made them illegal here in Canada now since, or?
No, I guess you might have to get rid of them. I'm not up on the laws, but I think you might have to get rid of them, which is that's really lousy.
Well, with this C-21, I'm sure they won't be in there. I mean, they're getting rid of the Manelli comfort of all guns. So this is a thing, but maybe buy them before you can, before they're not available anymore. Hey, Mark, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and joining me today to talk about obscure Canadian issues. I'm sure you've got all kinds of other things to be doing right now, but
no problem. You guys need help. Like we're in the same boat. We all have overreaching idiot politicians who want to take our rights away for supposedly to help us, but we know what's really going on.
All right,
it sucks, and I'm glad to help.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in and sharing these videos and letting people know what's going on. But this thing being so ridiculous, share it out as the ridicule that it deserves. Let's make this famous. Let's make Trudeau and his government famous for including the Buttmaster by name in a piece of legislation. We'll see you guys in the next one. Keep on trucking.